Hello, Kelly, and welcome to the Make Life Rich Movement podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me.
This is so fun, guys. We are taking it back. Kelly and I met 10 years ago. It was right before you discovered you were pregnant with your now 10-year-old. Levi's 10, right?
It's
10,
actually
11?
8.5.
8.5. Oh my
Yeah, so
God. He's so
it would have been
tall.
like 9-ish years ago.
9-ish years ago, yes.
Yeah, but close.
It's all swirling around. But the one imprint that you left with me was that you were a boss, and I loved everything about you. You were a client at the time, and it was just your energy was palpable, and you had just such a fresh way of thinking and looking at things. And I just really appreciated the time we got to spend together. So this is just such a fun full circle moment for me. And I cannot wait to talk about the whole purpose, which is your company that you created 11 years ago. And you are dedicated to providing both individuals and corporations with the tools they need to maintain a healthy and happy, balanced lifestyle, which I think is just such beautiful work and so needed. So thank you for your company and all that you're doing for everyone in the corporate world.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And my husband and I, when we were out in Philly, it was both of our first trips out that direction. And meeting you was one of the highlights, and being able to work with you was such a highlight.
Thank you.
And I just, to this day, we still talk about how much fun we had. And it was a crack up because I've been watching you now in your journey for several years and loving everything you're doing. And when I
Thank you.
shared with my husband the other day that I'd be on your podcast, he was like, "What? Sarah? You're so cool. Tell her I said hi."
Oh, you
So,
guys are the best couple, the best professionally together and separately. Guys, do a little digging when we're done because Kelly is a phenom and she not only just makes the world go round for corporate wellness, but she's absolutely got her hands in all kinds of other cookie jars and you're just a boss in all regards. So it's going to be a fun convo and I'm super excited.
great. Yeah, I am too. Let's pick
So
the name
tell us,
bird.
yes, I know. So I would love to know take us back to 10 years ago when you, like right before you started the whole purpose. What was your life like? How were you getting through your work day? What was a typical day for you? And like, how are you getting through?
Okay, so I was working in construction. I was director of marketing for an architectural design company. We designed and manufactured signage. I had started that job when I was 23, and obviously a very male dominated uh, workforce in construction. I was not only building marketing programs for our organization and new business, but I was also on job sites. So I was in the real thick of it, which I loved, but it was a difficult industry. It was way before there was any Me Too movement or anything like that. Imagine, walking on a job site and whistles and the whole, all the stuff you see in movies kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It was definitely rough. And I did that job for about 10 years and I started to hit a wall and I thought, this is not where I want my life to be anymore. And so I went back to school. I actually started by doing a yoga teacher training because I thought, well, I love yoga. I might as well try it out and just maybe it'll give me some type of, some sign. And it definitely did. It helped me. It was like therapy. I did a 200-hour program, then I fell into a 300-hour program. So
Hmm.
I did as much yoga hours as you possibly could do. Learned so much from it, met some great people, and thought, I'm going to start building a business plan. So I started building a business plan for ultimately who I was in the workplace. I went to a job, I worked way more than 8 hours a day. I traveled for work, and I was just at the time, I think my husband and I we were maybe just engaged and trying to figure out, okay, I know this new chapter of my life is going to start. I still want to work, no matter if I have children or not, I'm going to go work. How am I going to make all this happen? And how am I going to make it happen to where I'm still happy? And I
Hmm.
started looking around my office and looking at everybody in the office. I'm like, no one's happy. And everyone's unhealthy. And every person was overweight. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, how can I help people? I was overweight at the time. So I'm like, how can I help people that are like me? Like, how would I be happier in the office? So I came up with this idea and I actually went back to school at this time to finish a degree I hadn't finished. And I went and did a few other classes and started to write this business plan. And ultimately, my thesis was the whole purpose business plan. And I got to pitch it in front of my class, and it worked amazing. And I did a few other things around town, just trying to kind of get a feel, partnered with some really great people who I'm lucky enough to still be working with. And we started getting it out in the community. And bam, we launched it. So we turn 11 years old in June, which is super exciting. And
Hmm.
I mean, our first contract, I remember thinking, oh my God, I have a contract. How do I write a contract? Like, I don't know how to do this. And then what do I even price it out at? Like, I don't know what to do. It
Hmm.
was like throwing spaghetti at a wall. And I'm like, all right, let's see what's going to stick.
Hmm.
So that's how we got started. Our first client was Vizio, which is amazing. And we still get to work with them today.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much with working with them and all of their employees and colleagues. And it's been able to build us to who we are now and all the brands that we get to work with now.
Oh, I love that it was a tale of you almost like trying to pave the path for your destiny by recognizing, like, okay, I'm deeply unhappy with where I am and what I'm doing currently. Everyone around me seems to be the same.
Yes.
What do I want for my life moving forward? And I love that happiness was like the thread that kind of led you through all of this. And now you're able to spread happiness both through what I would imagine the employees receiving this activity that the corporate, you know, boss has kind of brought to them, but also the ability for you to give employers options that, isn't going to cost them bringing on another employee to manage, or it's not a headache for them to like organize and get together. You're providing the ease and the happiness of both the employer and the employee kind of getting this bonus time together that isn't really hurting anyone in the process and is only kind of bringing more camaraderie to the team and bringing this bit of rest and wellness to the employee, which I think is genius. Was that part of your thinking to make sure that you hit like both sides?
Yes, it absolutely was. Our tagline is actually "Be happy, be healthy," and so it was really happiness is all. It's my favorite word. Happy. Like I just want everyone around me to be happy. I want to be happy, and
Hmm.
it's not always possible, right? And you ebb and you flow, and you have to understand that. And as we get older, a lot of things change, and you just need to figure out where your place is. And I could feel that change in me. And I talked to a lot of people in the workplace who I worked with as clients and who also worked as colleagues with me at the company I was with. And they all felt the same way. And so I thought, you know what, how I want to figure out something to help make people happy and healthy while
Yeah.
in the workplace. Because if you think about it, if you're just say you're an 8 to 5 or a 9 to 5 at the office and you're attempting to figure out how to get a yoga class or a workout in, it's not always easy to do if you have a 30-minute to an hour drive to the office, which I did. So it's like, all right, so I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. I'm going to work out. I'm going to come home, get ready, hop in the car, drive, for quite some time to start my day. And then by the time I'm off, I'm sitting in traffic trying to figure out I got to get home, make dinner, and then get to bed to do it all again tomorrow. And so it was like that anxiety of like that repetition, knowing that you're on this hamster wheel and how is it ever going to stop? And that was really what my goal was to try to help people in the workplace either get that workout in or get that mindfulness session that could help them, like a therapy session. We do classes that are about self-gratitude, just trying to teach people how to really come back to themselves and appreciate themselves and be grateful for who we are and what we can actually give the world. So a lot of times we forget about that.
Yeah. I stalked your website so heavily, and I loved very much so that you, both on your Instagram and your website, are trying to get the person receiving this like beautiful event to re-envision their self-worth. Like, who are you outside of this job? Like, you are your own person, you have autonomy, you have gifts and talents that hopefully you're getting to use while you're at this job, but giving them that moment to kind of disconnect while in the workplace. What kind of like results have you seen from people getting, this 45-minute yoga sequence, and then, they get a bit of a breather after and now they go back to their desks? Like, are you hearing any kind of similarities amongst either the employers telling you something, or what are you hearing from the coworker or the employees when the event is done?
It's really neat an event is done. We normally have a line of people that come up to chat with us. I mean, I've had people in tears saying, "I can't believe this is amazing. Thank you for bringing this. I needed it so much." It's the working mom or the working dad that don't have time for themselves because when they're not at work, they're working with their child, and
Yeah.
they're just that time they're so thankful for. Employers have definitely sat and chatted with us because we like to go over statistics and take a look at how many people are actually attending the classes, what classes are getting more attendance than other classes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's neat because we go into each corporation and we analyze the demographic of their employees and understand what they need, who they are, where they're from, not only age wise, but also all types of demographics, just trying to figure out a field. Sometimes we're at an office that also has a warehouse, and there's people working in the warehouse and there's a front office. So that's two types of demographics, and we need to figure out how we can work not only with those schedules, because warehouse schedules are always different than office schedules.
Yeah.
So it's a really, I love putting puzzles together, and it's a puzzle, and we have to figure out each piece and trying to figure out how to touch each one of those employees. So when we sit down and talk to the employer and go through, what our classes have looked like for the past few months and maybe where we should adjust or keep going, it's always lovely to hear what they have to say. And even it's sometimes it's constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like, this is going perfect. We can't even believe it. We're getting more work out of our employees. We're seeing them happier. They're
Mm-hmm.
some maybe they're working longer hours. Maybe they're leaving earlier and able to work from home, but they're getting
Mm-hmm.
more productivity from them. And it's just such a it's those conversations make me come home with a smile on my face.
Yeah, man, I think we forget how much of our actual life is spent at work. Oftentimes, we're spending more time with our coworkers than we are with our own family.
Yes.
And I think I was in corporate for 3 years. They
Okay.
were the scariest, hardest, worst work moments of my life. And not because of the work I had to do in like the pharmaceutical industry, but my coworkers were deeply, deeply unhappy, troubled, had tempers, would take their upset out on coworkers. There was just a lot of really unhappy people that weren't getting a break at all, let alone even like an inch of room at work to have a personal feeling about life.
Oh
And
yeah.
this is absolutely something that I likely would have brought to the attention of our HR department, be like, hey, we need this. Everyone's at each other's throats. This would be great. And
Yes.
the other thing that I think about, sorry to cut you off, but everyone has a life outside of it that they have to deal with while they're at work. And typically, corporate jobs have less leniency for you to deal with your actual life on the clock than others. And I find it very tantalizing to think that you may be the only interaction that these people have in their week where they get a moment to just sit and be with themselves. Even if it's just to lay there in Shavasana the whole time and be
Mhm.
quiet, it might have been the only moment in their week where they get to just be vulnerable and have time to themselves and deal with their things that they need to that don't even have anything to do with work. Maybe work is their escape, you know?
What it could be, absolutely, because you don't know what goes
Yeah.
on in people's homes.
Yeah.
And it's true. And I think that's where we make these relationships. I have employees that will email me on the side and like and just say like, oh, that class, it was so great, whatever it be. Or say we're teaching nutrition classes, they're like, all right, we're at Trader Joe's, was this the peanut butter you told me to buy? And I always say, here's my cell phone, here's my email, reach out. I have no problem with it. I will answer any question you want. And that part's the stuff that I think is really cool, because these relationships that myself and my team members are able to create with these employees at the offices, it's
Yeah.
really, it's neat.
And to embed that kind of trust in the relationship almost immediately is also something like business and marketing wise, it's really awesome and
Yeah.
quite rare for someone to hear what you said at a work event and then or a work class and now they're texting you later while they're grocery shopping. They really listened to what you were saying and now they want to implement it. I think that's a really unique outcome that one really wouldn't expect from someone taking on like an extracurricular at work. Do you think there's something to your method of delivery when you are doing these events that kind of just puts them right in the zone and then they've kind of adopted this and it's something they want to start like working on or integrating into their day?
I think it's being personal. I really think being personal, and any, not only myself, but the people that work with me, our team, like we are authentic people. I wear my heart on my shoulder. I am here. I will stay after at a class with someone if they are crying and hold their hand and chat with them and see how I can help. And that's who we always say. I mean, it's our team members, but really the whole purpose is our family. So we're all family members and we are all here for each other and we're here for the people that we're teaching and working with. So I think that's really it, just trying to be a true person and be there for them. And I use this example when you're in your office. And I mean, this was a while back for me, 11 years ago when I was in corporate, but I was in corporate for 10 years. And if a vendor or anyone would come by, what do they bring? They bring donuts, right? And so if you're going to be grabbing a donut, whether it's for breakfast or your midday snack, and that's what's happening on a daily basis, you're just putting in this yucky food, you're going to end up feeling yucky, right?
Yeah.
So if we can teach people how to grocery shop accordingly and how to meal prep, so that
Mm-hmm.
makes their life easier and cost effective. I mean, look at where we're at right now. It's not cheap to go out and buy lunch every day. I mean, even my child's lunch at school, it's unbelievable how much
Mm-hmm.
an 8-year-old's lunch is. And I'm thinking, holy
Yeah.
smokes, like you're taking your lunch, buddy. Mom takes hers. And so
Yeah.
we try to teach that. Like, all right, so you like peanut butter? This is the peanut butter you buy. And this is how you use it. And this is what your plate should look like. So you don't have that midday, where you drop. And where someone would normally go for a candy bar and maybe grab that muffin or donut or whatever's out. So
Yeah.
it's just trying to teach people that. And some of the companies we work with, they're out, like you were a pharmaceutical rep, were brands like that are out and about, the salespeople. And so we try to help them be like, okay, you have a budget to drop off goodies. Let us do the goodies for you. Because we have a raw food chef that works with us who is absolutely amazing, Chef Jenny Ross. And she'll create these just killer raw food cinnamon rolls or
Mm-hmm.
protein bites that taste like you're eating a cookie or a cinnamon roll, but you're not. And they're
Mm-hmm.
crazy healthy. So utilize us to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And just see, it's really interesting how the employees like look around. I mean, I've
Yeah.
walked around offices being like, okay, guys, hi, Kelly Lamb with the whole purpose. And I've had like a tray of goodies. And they're like, wait, what is that? What is that? And they
Yeah.
try it and they're like, wait. And I give them a recipe and they're like, this is actually really easy to make. It is. And you're going to feel better.
Hmm. It's like you're the beautiful, shiny distraction, and that's already your personality, like to a T, anyhow. And the fact that you're packing such a punch of information and making it digestible, I think I appreciate just in general. No one really has the time these days to get into the intricacies of learning something new if they want to bring it into their day to day. So to do it almost as a moment of like, hey, look away from that spreadsheet and look over here for a second.
Yeah, totally.
This has 6 grams of protein. It has all the fiber you need for today, and it's going to help you not crash later. Oh, here's a recipe card. Have a great day. Goodbye. Like that alone, you just embedded so deeply into their brain because they're like, oh, anything to not look at this computer. What are you telling me right now?
I'm like the
Um,
health dealer in the office.
yeah, I love that. You're like, get this. Let me buy the water cooler. Um, So tell us about all of the different kinds of programs that you have to offer in the capacity of a business owner or a corporate entity kind of partnering with you to provide these experiences for their employees because you've got a lot going on. So, what are the different things that you offer, and what does that typically look like if they choose that?
Okay, so we have a menu of services. It has about 30-ish classes, but I always try to tell people it's an at a glance because we customize everything. But if I can't give someone a tangible to take a look at, then they're like, what do you do? So I give this menu of services saying, take a look, see, let me know what you like, and then we will meet with your team, understand your demographic, and then go ahead and create accordingly. So we do classes such as Foods for Immunity, which is absolutely amazing. I teach it with my mentor, who is just the coolest woman on the planet. And we ultimately teach people how to eat in order to stay healthy. And we created this course during COVID because obviously we couldn't be in the offices. When we're talking about new contracts we lost that year. But what we ended up doing was figuring out, we had to go quiet for a few months to figure out how to go virtual. And once we did that, then we were like, hey, we're back at it, but you're going to see us via Zoom, baby.
Hmm.
And Sherry and I would teach these classes, and it was awesome because it was so helpful during the time.
Hmm.
And now, with how we have all these super bugs and everything else going on, it just keeps, the class just keeps growing. So we're constantly
Hmm.
adding new content to it. We have classes where we'll come into your office and teach food demos. So my husband and I wing. We do a tacos and margis class where he teaches how to make the healthy fish taco, which it is, and then I teach how to make the skinny margarita. So if you're going to
Yes.
have a cocktail, how to do it healthy.
Love
And
it.
obviously that's a blast. We'll have, sometimes we set it up where each employee has their own station and they're cooking along with us. Or sometimes it's set up just as a demo and they get to drink their margaritas and chill and then eat afterwards, however it be. But we have a full recipe book that we send to everybody so they know how to make them once they get home. We do, I mean, we have classes, all types of exercise, meditation. We have a class. We work with these amazing group of. Uh, okay, we're gonna stop right there. Redo that one. You can cut that, right?
Yeah, I'll put it. What are we at? 2008.
Yeah, that one just went way off. Sorry.
No, you're
I
good.
work, okay, so we work with some amazing professors, and we have a class that's called Mental Well-Being and Self-Gratitude. And so we're really touching on where someone's mental well-being is, how you can check in for yourself every single day at any time during the day to be able to really get, if you're off balance, get on balance, or if you're on balance, stay on balance, and how to do that according to what your day looks like, what your week looks like. I mean, how often have a Sunday evening come up and you take a look at your calendar and you're like, and you already start getting anxiety knowing what the 5 days ahead of you looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So this class really teaches you how to calm anxiety, work with stress, and then really focus on what self-gratitude means and how you can not only do it for yourself, but bring it home and teach it to your family. So every class that we teach is very important for me, that it's easy comprehensible, and then also able to come home and teach to those around you or share with those around you. We have, like I said, meditation, all types of fitness classes. One of our employees is a Nike ambassador, and she is a butt kicker, and she teaches just these killer exercise classes, which are so fun. We have classes that we have one. It's like a Mother's Day special. We love it. It's mindfulness through florals, and we get together and we bring all different types of florals, and everyone either creates a floral vase of sorts or does like a succulents and creates a really cool pot that they get to take home. We do wellness fairs. So our wellness fairs are very interactive. We have games that people get to play. We always have food demos happening. We have different vendors that are giving out product that is healthy. So whether it's a fruit and veggie vendor, whether it's a smoothie vendor, we have yoga going on and meditation. We have exercise happening. It's a very interactive, fun day. So it's not the standard wellness fair where they get the local dentist and the local chiropractor to come and sell their services. We just create it's like a carnival of health and wellness is what it is. And it's fun.
Yeah.
And we give
Oh,
killer gift bags. We're
oh,
sponsored by rad companies, and they're so kind to give us their product. And so then we're able to share it with the employees we work with and just get new healthy product in people's hands that they may not know about.
man.
So that's just some.
I just some. And just those few things that you listed are things that people looking to grow or become more aware of who they are are aware that they don't like the direction their family's going in and they want to make a change with their habits. These are all things people would pay for, but would need to take time out of their regular life and money to do
And
so.
money. Yeah, and
It's
money.
so
That's the
beautiful.
thing. We don't all have that extra money to either have a therapist or have that monthly yoga subscription where you go, whatever it be, your unlimited yoga classes, because it's not a
Yes.
cheap date.
Yes.
So if an employer can offer that and give that, like you said, that extra hour to their employees, the difference in productivity in the employees is unbelievable. It
Man.
saves them so much time when they're out of the office, and it's fun. You get
Yeah.
the employees together, and they get to not have to be like, oh, that's Jane Doe from accounting, or that's blah blah from HR. Can't stand talking to her. They get to see another side, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now we're in this place where insurance companies are offering wellness dollars. So if a company is hesitant on hiring us because they have they have a tough budget and they can't figure out where to find the extra dollars, their insurance company gives them the dollars. And if you don't utilize those dollars in a year, they're gone.
Yeah.
So that's where I come in, and we find out we work with their insurance broker, we find out what they have for the year, and we create a customized program according to the exact amount of money their insurance company is willing to give them. So it's
Turning
only other
their
fun.
employees,
Perfect.
yeah, oh my God, you've created such a beautiful cyclical little, like, it's just going to keep going and going around because there are these entities that have these focuses that typically land on money, but you're the bridge that brings them together for it to be health equity, emotional equity, it bringing like a renewed sense of authenticity to HR,
Yes.
the ability for people to be seen by their employer, even though, it could be a far removed decision. has to change the culture, I would imagine, in a way that really does allow top to bottom to feel like this was a good decision to make. And it was a good thing to get to be a part of because of the decision was made.
Absolutely. And it's really cool when you see the C level or the owner of the company there in the classes with their employees, because that makes all the colleagues and employees so stoked. And they're really
Yeah.
excited to see, like, not only did you bring this to our office, but now you're a part of it.
Yeah. And that building the gap between roles back to people, I think
Yep.
it's not to like stereotype, but typically people only learn about your real life in a corporate setting if something really terrible just happened or like something magnificent happened. There's no real like in
So true.
between. There's almost like a moment of like, oh, should I know this about you? Or is this going to be like an HR violation down the road because like you told me something I shouldn't know? You know what I mean? Like there's always that
Totally.
weird to where you're like, oh, so sorry, having a bad day, Susan. Hope it gets better because you can't take that extra step to get to know them in a way that feels comfortable because you're at work with your coworkers. But I would imagine these events also bring coworkers together in a way that makes them kind of feel better when they're wading through the trenches of their work day without
It
getting so
does.
short-sighted.
And I've actually seen in some of the classes that we teach that are at that like 5:15 p.m. time, I've seen people who haven't known each other in the office because they're in different departments. They start to chit chat. And then a few classes later, I hear like, hey, you want to go grab a drink? You want to go grab dinner? And I see them leave together. And it's so cool because I'm like, all right, this is why I do this. Now we're creating,
Yeah.
people are getting new friendships and they're a whole new blossom of sorts. And
Yeah.
you had mentioned a few minutes back, talking about how titles and what your title is in a company. So I remember when I was in the corporate office. I mean, I started in sales, then I slowly built my way up. And man, I was not Kelly Lamb. I was the director of marketing and new business. And that's all I wanted to say because I had this title. And man, that title meant I finally made it. And so I got that title and I was like, why can't I pat on the back? There's no award that's given to me. Like, wait a second, why did I want this so bad? And realizing that I'm not a title. And so that's something that we try to really teach when we go in. You are not the title that you are. You have a life outside of this. So let's make your life outside and your life here as much fun as possible and get your work done, but do it with a smile on your face.
Yeah. And in a way that isn't like taking away from your energy tank or your emotional
Yes.
tank. It's
Yes.
I heard like and it's sad that we live in a country where jokes have been made for years and years and years about how terrible corporate is because of all of these monster situations to where people are lacking communication, they're not being seen, they're not feeling valued, their health and their priorities of real life are not being put first. And at the end of the day, it's just, well, that doesn't sound like a good friend. That doesn't sound like a good employer. Like that exchange sounds like it's a bad one. I don't want to put effort into that. But to give this your business is providing a tool and many tools that can be put in a way that can make a lasting change in the culture of the company that ultimately of course is going to be good for the bottom line and making money. But I think the emotional value of what people are feeling when they leave work and when they get to work. Is it a place they're happy to come to because they're being seen, they're being heard, their ideas are valued, they hear a good job once a week? Or are they coming to work sweating, stressed, anxious? They're on their third coffee because they truly don't want to be there. Like,
Yeah.
bitching with coworkers now. Now they've spread that to another coworker. It's like, well, I decided I wasn't going to be negative today, but you're here. Let's just gossip. Like
Yep.
it's a
And that makes you
chain.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a tumbleweed effect, right?
Yeah.
It's growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and
Yeah.
it's hard. And once you're in it, it's really hard to get out of it. So if you're
Yes.
able to, have something like what we can bring to the office, there's a class that we teach. It's actually an event. It's called Day of Service, and we work with local charities and nonprofits that are in the community of which the office is. So, for instance, coming up in a few weeks, we're doing one at a horse sanctuary with a company. And we go into the horse sanctuary and we do everything from build fences, build barns, paint, groom the horses, we plant trees, but literally the employees are out of the office the entire day. They
Mm.
come, we all have like matching logoed up shirts and hats, and we have lunch come. This one we're going to do a little healthy happy hour afterwards. And we've been there and doing these day of service where literally employees, the boss is like, okay, guys, it's 2 o'clock. We're done. Take the rest of the day off. Do whatever you want. And employees have come up to the owner of the charity and said, hey, you know what? We didn't really finish that area like I want to. We're going to go to Home Depot, get the rest of the items, and come back. Is it okay if we work for like 3 more hours? And how rad is that? Because
Yeah.
now they've had that release and they've had that bonding, and they've come together and like, you know what? Let's work a few more hours. We've got it. Let's help this group out. Like that's one of my favorite classes that we teach because it's off site and
Oh.
it's so engaging.
And in all the levels that it needs to be for everyone involved. I think there's such a interesting, like, there are two minds at play right now with work. It's either you need to be working on things that fulfill you and bring meaning to your life and purpose, which only the rare ones get, or you have to go to work every day and sell your time in exchange for money, and you have to suck it up and you have to do it with a smile on your face because this is life.
Yeah.
And for people in that category, one day off out of the entire year to go do something that means more than themselves and their day, and to get out of the headspace of their own life and to help someone. Not only has it been shown that one day of service can remove you from basically a depressive episode because you are
Yeah.
doing something for someone else, but think about the way that they can get to do that for someone else without taking away from their children and feeling guilty, without upsetting their husband because they're, oh, you're working late again. It's like, well, no, this is for something different. But it's like,
Yeah.
no, there's only so much time. And I would imagine that you offering this particular event really just paints the entire picture of the psychological and the mindset well-being that you are facilitating for this company's employees. Does that ever really like come across where they're like, wow, this was
Yeah.
more than a day at a horse farm. Like this
Oh
was
yeah.
big.
Oh yeah, we have had clients that have come back and said, "We had such a great time. Can we please do this again? And we'd like to do it every few quarters. And here's a list of charities that mean something to us, that are part of our heart." So then what I do, we're already connected with a bunch of charities, but it's great when they, send us a list of the ones that they love, and then we
Mm-hmm.
connect with those charities to see what we can do. And that's
Mm-hmm.
great for us because now we're branching off and meeting more charities and more people. So it's a
Yeah.
win-win all the way around. And then we just get to help more people too. So it's like,
Yeah.
let's do this. And there's nothing, I don't care how miserable someone is, wherever they are, at work, in their life, whatever it be. When you go and do something philanthropic to help another, that misery goes away there for a bit. You start to feel a lot better. And it does open up the mind to think like, okay, you know what? Are other things out there that I can do to make myself happier.
Mm-hmm. I think it's also really cool too that it's done in a group setting. So it probably psychologically takes them back to something like elementary school when we were still doing these things.
Yes.
And that like group think of like, oh my God, we're helping and we're all helping together. I wonder if the people taking it, do you kind of look around and you're like, everybody's enjoying themselves, everybody's smiling like little kids on a playground. Like,
Oh
does
yeah.
that moment hit you as the one providing this?
Oh yeah. Like I literally like thinking about it, it makes me have tears in my eyes. Like Marnie and I, one of like my right hand gal, Marnie, we literally will be there with like a smile on our face, and I'll look at her, I'll be like, I'm crying. Like I just can't believe it because you can just see people are hugging, and when the lunch comes, everyone just sits down and they're like powwow, just like you said, like back in elementary school, we used to have our little powwows at lunchtime. There's little
Hmm.
powwows and everyone's chit chatting and like, all right, are we ready? You guys finish your burritos? Let's go do the next round. I mean, it's really fun. And then we get to bring in all of our vendors that we love that are a part of our family. I mean, obviously my husband owns Wahoo's restaurants, so I try to bring him in as the caterer and all these other cool brands that are cool people who created them. And so
Hmm.
it's just this fun atmosphere of really fun people.
Hmm.
Excuse me.
And kind of spreading like the anyone you're involved with, I'm sure, is of the same grain as you to where you want to make a bigger impact. You want to, spread love and health and just make things better than you found them. And I think the one thing that people may, if they're considering to start a business of some sort, at one point or another, we all have to align with other businesses or groups to make something happen. What were some of the, I guess, parameters that you were looking for when you were trying to find these sponsors that you would be utilizing for your events?
It was really about like-minded brands, brands that were in the health space in some way or another, and wanted to do not only philanthropic work, because we've always, from day one, have focused on giving back, but also we're just nice people. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just come on, like nice people. And we just had the natural food show here. It's been going on for God knows how many years. And I walk it
Love that
every year.
show.
I
Oh,
mean, it's so fun. But I mean, your feet hurt for like 9 days after.
yeah.
But man, you walk that show, and there's so many brands. But I just walk right up to booths and start chit chatting with them. You
Mhm.
know immediately if they're nice people or not, right? Like you know immediately when you say, "Oh, this is what I do," and if they
Mhm.
just blow you off, you're like, "Well, it's not even a brand I'd want to work with, anyways." And then there's
Mhm.
other brands that are like, "Wait, whoa, what do you do? This is awesome. Okay, we'd
Mhm.
love to be a part." Because if you think about it, they have a product of sorts that we are able to get into hundreds and hundreds of employees' hands. You
Mhm.
can't tell me there's not going to be several employees. There's a good percentage that are going to like the product and going to turn around and buy
Mhm.
it. So
Mhm.
it's a win-win, and they all have
Beautiful.
samples.
Yeah.
So it just depends how they want to distribute it.
Oh, I love
It was
that.
really
And
like, okay, cool brands, nice people, they give back. All right, now let's take a look here.
yeah, no brainer.
Yeah.
You also offer retreats, which I love that this is like an extension of your offerings. Tell us about some of the retreats you've done and what are some things that if an employer, we'll say a small size company, wants to do a retreat of some sort, what were what would be some of the things that you would kind of go through with them to help plan out their event? Because I think a lot of people don't understand how much goes into it. It's not just like booking some plane tickets and we show up and like, yeah, we're here. Um, yeah. So tell us about your retreats component and what that looks like to kind of engage with you on that.
So we will do the entire event planning from start to finish. A lot of the ones for corporate space are just a day. Now we have done, a few day ones. We've done weekend retreats. So it just depends. If we're trying to find something where, say, we're pulling in, say it's a smaller company, like 100 or less employees, and we know that we're not going to get all 100, say we're going to get a good like 70% that are going to attend. It's all about trying to find the proper location for that group and then creating the day so that they get to have their sales talks and whatever else they have to do, the keynote ish from the CEO, and then we then incorporate all the fun stuff in between, and then work with the people that are doing the sales chat or the keynote speak, or we'll find a keynote speaker that makes
Oh,
sense to come in, which that part's really fun. I really enjoy that because
yeah.
it's off the beaten path of having someone they see in the office anyways every week talk. It's and we have someone that makes sense for their office and what they do, their genre, but also something that's interesting and
Yeah.
engaging and can work in personal life. So for me, a retreat is all about starting off with a bang, having a good time, and not getting bored. I went to 5 billion conferences when I was in construction. And it's like, all right, you get the muffin breakfast with cantaloupe and honeydew. Then you get a rubber chicken lunch, and then you're gonna have a happy hour with beer and wine. And it's like, all right, come on, how boring is that? So the goal is to get people moving. We'd like to have different sessions. Some of the sessions are outdoors. Some of the sessions are like, all right, during this session, everyone's gonna go for a hike and talk. Or we're gonna have a walk, or we're gonna do a yoga class, and then we're gonna have a circle that we're all gonna join, and then have some type of a conversational flow. And we bring in all the cool brands. So all the
Yeah.
brands are there. I am a sucker for a gift bag.
Yes.
I mean, my husband laughs at me. My joke is if it's free, you take three. And I just love a good gift bag. So
Yeah.
my goal at all times at any retreat that we host or like a day event is to have a killer gift bag that
Yeah.
everyone leaves with and they're like, yeah, awesome. I just got the latest Yeti and like some really cool fun stuff in there. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's it's just really about keeping engaging, not boring,
Yeah.
and bringing in the right either speakers or other brands just to make it fun. And if it is a weekend retreat or a few days, then we get to have some real fun. So then, like,
Yeah.
we've done some stuff in wine country here in Northern California, and
Oh.
we've got some great wine brands that we work with and friends of ours. And one has a working farm on it, so we can be a
Ooh.
part of the working farm, pick veggies. They have an amazing chef, so we get to cook up the food, hang out, drink good wine, and then you're outdoors and it's unbelievable. And then we just
Yeah.
create the rest of the day's agenda according to the space.
That sounds like a vacation. I
It's
would
really
pay
fun,
cash money for that right now.
right? And I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and the fact that they get to do it while on the clock, I think, is
Oh,
just all the more reason for businesses to entertain someone like you and offering these things for their employees. I wonder, is there not a dream client to work with, but who are ideal candidates for utilizing the wellness dollars? Maybe not all size businesses would have some type of situation like that. I'm not too well versed in that. I have no
yeah.
employees, so
Normally, the way that works is if you have 100 employees that are on one insurance program,
Mhm.
then you get wellness dollars. Now,
Okay.
most companies have a few different options, right, for their insurance, but it would be one particular. Like, let's
Mhm.
just say a company has, and we'll use Aetna, and they have a PPO and an HMO through Aetna, but then they also have a Kaiser option, right? So Aetna, if they have over 100 people on one of those programs, then they get wellness dollars and we're able to utilize those. And
Mm.
so any client that has that kind of like that's 100 and plus is like a good niche for us,
Mhm.
but we can work with all sizes. We work with companies that have 20 people all the way to 20,000 people. It doesn't matter. And many locations because we can go nationwide. So that's no issue for us. I mean, my past
Oh.
life is construction. So a lot of our companies that we work with are construction companies.
Mhm.
And so it's fun because I get to go back on job sites
Yeah.
and do events on job sites. And it, reminds me of, my in the olden days.
Oh my God, it's come full circle.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that's probably like our niche client, like that has that 100 plus employees all on
Mhm.
one particular program and has an HR that my favorite things in HR that's like, okay, here's our wellness budget. We'd like to start on April 1st. Just tell us what we're doing. I mean, that's like the perfect client, right? Because then I
Yeah.
can just do whatever we want, build it. And then
Yeah.
what we do is every 2 months we do check-ins. So like
Mm.
I personally come and do a check-in so that I can see where are we standing? How is class participation? What should we be adding on? What should we be taking away?
Mhm.
And that's fun because a yearly contract is, you know, our bread and butter. It's
Mhm.
amazing. If we can be at an office anywhere between once a week or bi-weekly, I mean that's killer. If we're doing exercise classes, we can be at an office 2 to 3 times a week. So it just
Wow.
depends. I mean, all of that. We love all clients, but all
Yeah.
of that is our happy niche.
I
Niche.
love that. And it's such a testament to the business that you've built out to be able to serve so many different sizes and so many different needs. It's really a difficult thing to do and do well. And you guys are doing it and doing it well. So kudos to you because this is a lot of moving parts that I'm sure you were already dealing with in construction. I can't imagine how crazy that was. A lot of little pieces, a lot of people, but it's just so refreshing to see you doing well because that means that corporate is investing in their employees. And we all know someone that works in corporate and we send them a positive, happy note every day in our brain, just like, make
Yes.
it through today, friend. You'll be okay.
Exactly.
We're
Yes.
praying for you. But
Exactly.
yeah, it means a lot to see that you're doing well because that means that ultimately employees are doing well, or at least they're in a better place than they were. And I think your work is just as we said before we got on, it's so needed. I can't think of one company that couldn't use what you're offering, and it's just a smart investment. It's a smart investment in the ethos of your community. It's a
Yeah.
smart investment in your employees, and I think it's very brave of you to have kind of followed your passion and knowing like I'm in corporate and I don't like this. So let me move in a direction where I know I'm going to be happy And ultimately, it's kind of like you left no one behind, which I personally love a lot. It's like, guys, I've moved on, but I'm coming back for you, and I'm bringing help, and I'm bringing gift bags. Okay,
Yes, lots of them. I got you.
yeah, it's so beautiful. What does it feel like to know that you're? I think we really overlook what an impact the workday has on our overall trajectory of our whole life. So I wonder, like, what does it mean to you to bring people peace to their day?
I'm someone who suffers from anxiety. I always have. And to be able to know that I can help people find peace helps calm my anxiety. It just really, I always want to put my head on the pillow at night and be able to go to sleep knowing, like, with a fulfilled heart and knowing that I'm doing good. Like, that's what I always want to be able to do. I want my son, to be able to turn around and be like, my mom was a badass, and she also helped people, and that's like my number one. I just that just means so much to me, and
Yeah.
I think that's all I can say is just that I want to be able to put my head on the pillow, knowing that I'm doing right, helping people not feel the anxiety that I know how it feels, and how
Yes.
sometimes it's so overwhelming, it's like you can't even function and
Yeah.
you don't want to get out of bed and you don't want to go to work because that maybe that office or whatever it be is what's creating that anxiety. And
Yes.
also teaching, I do a lot of mentoring and different work as well, teaching people, okay, if this is a bad space for you, I got out, I figured out how to do it, and I was scared shitless,
Yeah.
but I did it. And so if I can do it, anyone can do it. So trying to
Yeah.
teach people how to take that jump and make that next step.
It's so beautiful. Kelly, I love this for you. Literally, like, it just means a lot. And it's amazing for you to be out there and be an example of how you can build a company around helping people. And you can still be successful and you can still be doing really well and expanding and growing all of the time. And it doesn't have to be at the detriment of others to do so.
Yes.
And you found a way to make it work for everyone involved. And I find that to be so impressive between the employer, the insurance company, you, the employee, the sponsors. It's just such a beautiful, cyclical, symbiotic thing that you've built. And it's just really making such a positive impact for so many people that definitely wouldn't have gotten it at work had you not brought it to them.
Well, thank you. I truly appreciate that.
So, my final question for all of my guests, and I'm sad that we're here, but Kelly, how do you make your life rich?
Oh, surround myself with amazing people that make me happy.
I love that. You've got
That's
really
really
great
it.
people around you. Yeah, you do. Shout out to an amazing husband. Your husband is a really cool dude. Separate of being a husband, he's a really cool dude. So I think it's you guys have such beautiful complementary personalities and souls, and it's
Oh, thank you.
no wonder that you guys are just doing so well and the things you're doing together and doing separately. So thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you.
and sharing.
I
Guys, if you
appreciate you and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Guys, if you are ready to get the whole purpose in your life, there are numbers of ways that you can go about doing that. And I encourage you to take this to your HR manager. Would that be the best person? Who would you suggest?
Yeah,
HR?
HR,
All
absolutely.
right. Yeah, march in on Monday. This will be, yep, march in on Monday and tell them I would like to have this in our building, please, and thank you. And you can click the link in the show notes to follow Kelly on Instagram as well as the whole purpose. And then check out the website. There's a lot of really beautiful resources and just a lot of things that I think are going to just spark your ideas on how your day could get better at work. And it may just take you showing your employer who's very busy that this exists and that it's something that they could engage for you. So don't neglect your power, employees. You guys are the only way they turn on the lights. So
Exactly.
put yourself out there. Get the help that you need via the whole purpose. Thank you so much, Kelly. This was awesome.
Thank you. Take care. So good to see you.